We are a couple days away from Bowen Byram's new contract, and it's going to be a big one. What is he worth? Let's find out with Steve Peters, and we'll take you to development camp. We're going to hear from Xavier Villeneuve and Mark Eaton, who maybe took a shot at Jack Pridham. Ooh, spicy. Stay tuned. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Chloe Thiel is here running the show in our scorching hot studios.
You didn't identify yourself properly. You are CHGO Host of the Year. Thank you, Jay Zawaski. The crowd goes wild.
I love attention. Thank you very much. I love being spotlighted and the attention put on me. But yes, we had our All-City Day today. That's why our show's a little bit late. All the networks got together and had some awards, and I unexpectedly won the host award here at CHGO. So thank you
Deservedly
to my
so.
colleagues who voted. Thank you. All right, can we move on, please? I'm incredibly uncomfortable, and not just because it's 85 degrees in the studio right now.
Yeah, it's hot in here.
It is. It's insane. It is insane. You could probably see us sweating. Maybe I'll lose weight in real time on the show. Chloe, can you produce a, what do you call it, a sped up time lapse video of me just losing weight as the show goes on?
Sure.
All right,
just
cool.
zoom in on our pit stains as they grow.
Yeah. The pit stain monitor. All right. Well, thanks for being with us. Hit that like button for us. We appreciate that. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on your favorite podcast app, we love you and thank you. Make sure you are following or subscribe there. And yes, thank you to everyone who let us know Greg Boyson was indeed hacked on Twitter. He's aware of it. He's working on it.
I really thought that all his work with crypto was finally paying off for him.
It's about time.
I really thought
he had put so much work into the crypto game.
Yeah. And his business casual attire too.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. It was weird, but obviously thanks for giving us the heads up on these things. But Greg is aware that he was hacked.
right before the show, I got the DM from Greg that said, "Hey, I hope all is well." And I'm like, "Thanks, Greg. I just saw you yesterday."
You got to throw this.
All
Can you throw
is
this
well.
up?
Yeah. If you see this picture,
this is the AI generated photo.
This is not real.
First of all, we know it's not Greg. The shirt is not loud enough, and that's not Ray.
That is not.
That's
Ray.
not Ray
That's
Chrysler Dodge Jeep or Ram.
That's not a Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Chevy.
No.
Yeah. And Greg has never pulled off the hand in the pocket, lean against the car pose. I don't think. Maybe in high school. I don't know. Maybe there's a Polaroid of that somewhere out in the world. But yeah, that's just. Is this the second time in a year that he's been hacked?
Yeah, you got to put a two-factor authentication on there. Anyway, Greg will be back tomorrow. We're also tomorrow regular showtime 3:00. Wednesday, July 1st. That is the start of free agency. It starts at 11. We will be on at 11 and hang out as long as we need to.
Kyle Davison also scheduled to talk at that day.
Yes.
Wednesday.
So yes, and we'll have more from development camp as well, and that's where we want to start today. A couple things went on today. Mark Eaton, the director of player development, met with the media. We're going to put all this stuff up, by the way, on YouTube, these full interviews with all the draft picks with Mark Eaton. On the show, we're just going to share some clips, and you want to hear from Xavier Villeneuve, so we're going to play that whole thing because he was a delight. So why don't we start with Mark Eaton? And something that's been on a lot of people's minds has been why this sudden shift from off-ice development to now changing things and putting it back on the ice, and he answered that question directly.
Yeah, there will be, I think you phrased it well, a little bit more ice, phasing that back into camp. And I think it was the numbers dictate that at the last 4 or 5 camps have been so big in numbers that when we do go on ice, we don't want like your run-of-the-mill practices. With a smaller group, I think, 18 skaters, we have a couple goalies. We'll be able to divide them into groups. We have skating coach here, so we can send 4 guys over to work with her, while 4 guys are on the ice with skills coaches, myself. Really just slowing things down, working on technique, showing them video, taking video, gaining a baseline for where they are, and being able to track progress as they move through developing new skills and skating techniques for some of them.
There you go. There's your explanation, and a numbers game is the primary explanation. And I don't have the 2025 roster, but the 2024 development camp roster had 23 forwards, 5 defensemen, and 2 goalies.
That's more forwards than skaters.
There's 18 skaters this year. So more space, more time for individual analysis. And I think, you're kind of at a point now where the majority of your top prospects have graduated, right?
Not even Frondell is at this
Frondell's
camp.
not there. So you would like to, Cancer probably can't get here for whatever reason, so fine. And I think they're looking at him as he's not even a prospect. They know what he is.
Yeah.
So now it's sort of like you're like the biggest name in terms of draft is Mason West.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah. West and Estrasil, the guys that they just took,
right.
Villeneuve, Rubrick, getting a chance to see those guys will be good. But yeah, I mean, it's there's no Oliver Moore, there's no Frondell, no Kanserov. I think having those guys, play in the NHL, or in the case of Kanserov, like having already played professionally, it's probably a bit of messaging too to them, and just being like, no, you guys are pros. You're in the NHL. Like,
right.
take your summer as a professional. You don't have to worry about stopping your off-season training to come here for a couple of days.
Sasha Boisvert's here too.
Boisvert, yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably the highest drafted player attending.
He's really the only guy that played professionally last year.
Yeah.
If I'm
by the way, Mark Eaton went out of his way to point out, like, he could tell how much work Boisvert's been putting in. Says evident that he's been working really hard this offseason, so that's great to hear too, coming in the camp ready to go. Because I think after the way things went with BU last year for injuries, and I think just fit reasons, and of course some off ice letdowns from Boisvert himself, you were kind of maybe had a little bit of concern about, well, where's this whole thing going to end up? So to see, came up, played a handful of games at the NHL level, looked okay, got a goal, got a couple points, didn't look totally out of place. And now that he comes into camp, really, really already sending a message of, I'm ready, I'm doing this, that's encouraging.
Boisvert and Stanislav Berezhnoy are the only 2 guys at Dev Camp that have played professionally.
Okay.
Everyone else is either turning pro, like Vinacker and Spelisi, or college or juniors, or playing overseas. So yeah, I mean, this is really a big shift from what we've seen in the last couple of years, just as far as guys who are in development camp. And then, the change kind of back to being on ice, but it's not going to operate like it did, in previous years when it was on ice, where it was like 5 days. I remember when they did development camp about 8 or 9 years ago, it was like 5 days, two full sessions with like 30-minute scrimmages after each set. Like if you went to Johnny's to go watch Dev Camp for free, I used to do that, and it would be like I would be there from like 10 o'clock till like 5 o'clock. Like, it was a whole day of just watching a bunch of prospects, most of which never turned out to be anything in Chicago, but it was a lot of fun. But this year coming back, I feel like they're just going to operate it like it's a Blackhawks practice with like 20 guys on the ice.
That's how it feels.
They'll run some drills. Like, it's not going to be scrimmaging. There's not going to be much of that. So still, it's free. Come out, hang out at the Blackhawks Ice Center, watch some free hockey, watch some of these prospects as a fan. It's still fun, but you're not going to get that full like feeling of like, oh, this is like all the guys in the system kind of camp.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
I mean, it's still fun.
It is cool, and if you've not been to Blackhawk Ice Center since the renovations, you should check it out. Let's hear from one more thing from Mark Eaton here, and he was the question's in here, so I don't want to mislead you on the question. This was asked by Scott Powers. Kind of, if you can't hear it, he sort of says, you had a couple guys leave the organization, and Dominic James and Jack Pridham, who
Via trade.
just kind of opted out. They didn't, they wanted to take their talents elsewhere for opportunity.
To South Beach.
And here's what he had to say about that.
There's obviously been a few players who the organization earlier unsure if they're able to sign them. Is there anything from your perspective, from your job, that you see that you can do to help assure that, or just I guess, is there anything that you guys learned in those circumstances, or anything that you just it's out of your hands in some way?
And what, like what?
Well, just with Pridham and
James.
James, that just is there anything you guys could have done differently, or is there anything you learned from those circumstances?
From our standpoint, I mean, not really. I mean, I think we treat everyone the same. We establish relationships with all these guys. We treat our 7th rounders as well as we do our 1st rounders. Part of development camp is, getting them to experience the great city that is Chicago. And a lot of times for some of these players, it comes down to they think they're too far behind other prospects or something like that. And that's not something we can control. And if anything, if we want guys that want to be here battling for spots, and if guys want to shy away from that, then maybe they weren't who we thought they were anyway.
Interesting.
That got my attention very, very much.
Yeah, that perked up the ears. Yeah.
That last sentence, we want guys who want to be here and battle for spots. If guys want to shy away from that, maybe they weren't who we thought they were.
I think two things can be true at the same time.
Yikes.
I think Dominic James, credit to him, bet on himself, saw the situation in Chicago and said, maybe not for me. And he's playing NHL games in Tampa.
Yes, he is.
Good for him. Maybe it works out the same way for Jack Pridham. Who knows? But also that mentality, as Mark Eaton's putting it, is like that's what you want. That's what you want to put out there, and that's what you want the guys that you have in-house to have, that mentality of like, I'm here, I'm going to earn my spot. And if guys are in the mix that aren't pulling in that same direction when it comes to development camp, when it comes to what they're doing in their, when they're working out and they're training away from the team, but they have communication with the team, you want them to take that communication to heart and like put it into practice and work on the things that they're asking, or do the things that they're looking for from those guys. And not to say that, Dominic James or Jack Pridham weren't doing those things, but I think from Mark Eaton's standpoint and his words, it comes across that those guys specifically that they were asked about might have been some conversations that from the Blackhawks perspective they didn't appreciate. So they said, all right, well, if you don't want to be here, we'll oblige that, we'll make room for guys that do.
And later on, he said, he was asked about, do you send guys to college with stuff to work on? He's like, everyone knows. Our job as a development staff is that everyone knows what their expectations are, what they need to get better at, all those sort of things. So that's communicated not just to prospects, to everybody. So look, I don't know if that was really a shot, but I think I could see what he's saying. It's like, look, Jack Pridham had a great year. Why not come here and try to compete for a spot? I don't think it was out of the question that he could have ended up playing for the Blackhawks.
No,
I think he will play in the NHL, but maybe he's just looking at what the Hawks already have and looking at the guys ahead of him and saying, odds are I'm not going to be able to leapfrog these guys. I'm probably not a top-line NHL player, so I probably need to go find a spot on a bottom 6 somewhere where I'm going to get some opportunity. So, okay.
I agree, but also, wouldn't that be harder in Tampa?
That's
my thought.
You would think so, but then teams with cap issues need to find guys that can perform at lower costs.
You go to a prospect system as a 20-year-old where They
There's no
don't
prospects.
have those top
Yes.
guys. So you step in, you're like, oh well, I could be the 14th prospect in Chicago, like Frank Nazar was, or I can go to Tampa and be like their 5th prospect, and like you get looked in a different light.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was necessarily a shot, but it certainly got
was
my
interesting.
attention and
Yeah.
the attention of everybody else in that room. So we're going to hear from Xavier Villeneuve when we come back from break. You're going to learn how to say his last name in English and in French.
And in French, yes.
Both ways. Do us a favor, hit that like button. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. And what if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you keep it at the same price for 5 years? That is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. It's super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense, and that lets you stream the game even when the entire family is online. All of your devices working together in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, no annual contract, no hidden fees, and you'll get Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, companies grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. So lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more about the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Available on select plans only, and restrictions do apply.
Our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary are here to elevate your baseball season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping with a crazy selection of over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. So wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. There was a player that was drafted this weekend from South Beloit. I forgot who it was, but I said, hey, South Beloit,
Hey.
There's a Sunnyside there.
Hope he's not been there.
Stop into the store nearest to you for expert guidance from their staff, and check out the Good News Tea Time Vapes. Tea Time is a lemonade flavor, so it should go well with an Arnold Palmer on the golf course all spring and summer long. Head to their website for only the best under the sun, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases when you use the code HICHGO. That's HICHGO. Sunnyside Dispensary, only the best under the sun, only for those 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. We're about, 10 minutes away from chatting with our pal Petey, who's going to talk about Bowen Byram. Before we hear from him and before we get into the Byram stuff a little bit, we want to share Xavier Villeneuve's interview today at camp. I will say, not as short as I thought,
No.
skinnier than I thought.
He's not a big defenseman, but that's not what he's going to be known for.
And that's a big part of this conversation. But this kid is super confident and will definitely
I
be
like
a hit
him.
in
I like him
Chicago.
already.
Very likable kid.
Yeah.
Here he is, Xavier Villeneuve, on courtesy of my phone.
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Can you elaborate on that just for the whole weekend, everything?
No, it's really nice. Just a dream come true. So exciting to be here, and I can't wait for what's next.
Very important question. How do you pronounce your last name? We want to get this right off the top.
Well, in English, I'd say Villeneuve is good. In French, it's more Villeneuve, but Villeneuve is fine. So
What's it just like to be here, and what are you looking forward to from this week off the ice, on the ice, everything?
yeah, I think it's just about getting better. I know it's repetitive, and everyone say that probably, but just here, meet new people. It's a great organization, I can see already, but no, just getting better by the end of the week. That's my goal.
Kind of building on that, what part of your game would you like to improve on the most in your next step?
I think without the puck, like defensively, there's certain details at 160 pounds that I have to get better. I think that's obvious. There's also a part off the ice where I got to get bigger, but on the ice, really defensively, I'd say.
Have you heard from any of the collection of BU graduates who are current Blackhawks yet?
No, not real. I mean, Sasha played there, so yeah, he talked to me a little bit about it, but no, except for that, no.
How much are you looking forward to testing your game at the college level, playing against some stronger physical players?
Yeah, I'm pumped. Like wherever there's a challenge, like I want to take it. So no, I'm so excited to get there.
What were your first impressions of being with other prospects in an NHL facility?
Yeah, no, it was great. Like, they're all great players, from the past couple of years. So, no, it's just fun to all be here at the same time. And, yeah, I'm excited for the week.
Have you been to Chicago before?
I think I drove by a couple times, but it's like the first time actually stopping in, and it's a great city. It's so nice.
Anything you're in particular you're looking forward to seeing at all this while you're here? Or?
I mean, I wanted to come here, and it feels like every time you open a door here, there's something new. So that's nice. But no, just walking in the city, I guess, and a bit being a visitor there. So it's nice.
Kyle Davidson talked about his conversation with you and how your love for the game of hockey was apparent in that conversation. Did you sense that things were going well in that conversation?
Yeah, no, I think I wanted to go there. I think he liked my personality off the ice, my energy. So yeah, we had good conversation. I had a feeling. So yeah.
I'm sure you've dealt with the questions about your size a million times, especially going through the combine and all that. How much do you feel like it matters or doesn't matter? Or where do you see that in going forward, where do you need to be good, or what types of skills do you need to maintain to be successful?
Yeah, I think even though I'm not the biggest, like if I get strong, let's say I stay 5'11", and then I get to 175 and I'm super strong, like I'll be fine. I don't think it matters that much. There's certain details like we spoke about earlier, I got to get better at. But once I'm good at this, like consistently, like I'll be fine. So yeah.
To build on that, you had mentioned in your Zoom call that you've got a skill set that's pretty rare. Can you just kind of expand on the certain skill sets that you're feeling really good for you?
Yeah, I think what I can do with the puck in the offensive zone, the vision I have, I think is something pretty rare. I hate to be cocky and talking about how good I am, like that's not me. But yeah, I think it's something pretty rare, and that makes who I am on the ice.
You seem like you are really confident in your abilities. Have you always had that as a young player? Like, where does that confidence come from for you at such a young age?
I think it comes from hard work, on the ice. Like when I was young, even now, like spending, 2 hours every day on the ice and practicing all those crazy skills that like you see in games that are like, how is he doing that, or why is he doing it? Well, like I did it many times before, so I guess that's where it's coming from.
I know you had mentioned you were a big fan of Duncan Keith. What did you love about him?
I mean, everything. Like what he did on the ice. What was his average time on ice when he was in playoffs? Like probably above 30 minutes. Like just a horse on the ice. He could do it all. He's really the guy that made me fall in love with the position of defenseman. So no, it's awesome to now be here and hopefully do a little bit of what he did. So yeah.
What went into your decision to go to college next year instead of staying in juniors?
I just think it's the next step, like junior. I love my 3 years in junior. I think, I'm going to play against older guys, bigger guys. The game is faster, so I think that's the best for my development. So.
All right, there he is, Xavier Villeneuve, or in French, Xavier Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, yeah. That comment, man, I had to hold back a smirk when he said that. 'Cause I was like, he just said the same thing.
The same thing, dude.
It's Villeneuve, but just a little bit Frenchier.
Yes. Super confident. He came into the room like ready to go, really, really excited to talk. Like you could, like the other prospects. Samuel Alalori was also
he was ready
energetic
to go.
and ready to go. Maybe a little slap happy from being a little jet lagged, but he was ready to go. The other guy's shy, not in like a bad way, but understandable. It's like, my God, I just got here. I just got drafted 2 days ago, and now I'm here at development camp, putting the sweater on over my head for the first time. Like, it's got to be a whirlwind for these guys, and I was impressed with all of them. They all came off really well. So I think I got a nice class here. I can't wait to see how these guys look. I don't know if they'll get in. Probably the college guys won't get in any preseason action, but I'll be keeping my eye on BU big time this year.
Yeah,
I really want to see how he plays against bigger competition.
Yeah, and I think for him, like it's going to be impossible to escape the Lane Hudson comparables because he's going to Boston University where the Lane Hudson and Cole Hudson both went to. But I think the level up in competition going into the NCAA will be something that'll be good for him. It'll be something to keep an eye on. And as he said, like, he's going to go and he's still going to develop physically. Like, he's still going to add, weight to his frame. Mark Eaton made a comment regarding Nathan Boehm, who's going from Kamloops in the WHL to Arizona State next season. So he's going to play in the NCAA, and he's going to benefit from getting in the weight room and adding strength. And Nathan Boehm is like 6'2", 200 pounds. So all of these guys have, physical maturity and different paths to getting to what they're going to look like when they're 20, 21, 22 years old. So I think, the talking point about the physical side of things and how Villeneuve, like, how he physically measure up. Villeneuve.
Thank you.
How he physically measures up is, I feel like, going to become maybe a non-factor at some point, because as Charlie Remiliotis pointed out, Duncan Keith's draft year, he was drafted at 6 foot, $168. Villeneuve is 5'11", $165. And when Duncan Keith was fully matured, you wouldn't say, "Wow, pipsqueak, I'm going to run you over." Like,
and that's why he was
not
a
at all.
second-round pick.
Yeah, well,
Look at
yeah,
the size.
yeah. So I feel like for him, like, the skill is very evident. So it's going to be fun to watch him at BU and see how he takes that next step, because he tore it up in the queue this year. So I'm excited.
Couple comments. Ovi Clapbaum is with us. What's up, Ovi? How you doing? He says, with Villeneuve, I haven't been as excited for a prospect since Bedard, and more draft. The kid is special.
Yeah.
And I'm going to agree with AKZ Dino.
Oh.
And he says, he's no Cole Hudson, let alone Lane. Let him be him. I kind of agree with that. Like, I think we fall into this trap of, and this is, I think the draft is especially when it
compare
gets silly
everybody
season.
to everybody.
He's got potential to be a bottom 6 goal scorer. Comps, Mario Lemieux. It's like, come on, calm down with the comp.
Who is it? Tab Bamford was talking about some scouting report he read from some person, and they said that Daxon Rudolph was not only the best defenseman that they rated in the class, but the best player they rated in the class, with shades of Zach Werenski and Cale Makar.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Definitely. I think Daxon Rudolph is definitely going to be that. But you do have to let Villeneuve be himself. And while the similarities are there because of the size, because of the skill set, I think he's got a long way to go in terms of developing his defensive game before we can compare him to either Hudson.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
Well, and it's it's recency bias a little bit too. If Lane Hudson and Cole Hudson took long paths to get to the NHL, and then they didn't really do anything that jumped off the page, you wouldn't be saying, "Oh, they're going to be the Hudson boys." You'd kind of say, "Well, I have small defensemen." Like, you'd have some questions, but I think, because Lane Hudson and Cole Hudson have played so well stepping into the NHL, especially Lane, when you have a small defenseman, and as we saw in this year's draft compared to last year's, where no defensemen under 6 foot were taken, and there was like 10 this year under 6 foot taken, I think you're seeing like an immediate course correction of like, oh, don't be scared of small defensemen, because Lane Hudson and Cole Hudson were able to kind of break that stereotype a little bit. Still happened that Villeneuve fell to the second round, because I think a lot of people expected him to go in the first round, but it's inevitable that you're going to have those comparisons. But yes, I agree all around. These guys need to become their own players. And we're guilty of that too, comparing all these young guys to the dynasty area Hawks, and kind of being like, where are they going to all fit in? Like, it's
how the conversation moves.
Yeah, it's just that's all sports
conversation.
conversation.
Thing to keep in mind too is, like, I think if Villeneuve is in the NHL sooner than like 2 full years from now, I'd be surprised. Like, I think it's 2 full years of college for him. Maybe at the end of the second year of college, if he really pops and puts on some, and because, like, he might not be done growing. Some people are just late bloomers, right? Like, so maybe he grows an inch, adds 15 pounds, which is not crazy over 2 years. Maybe
6 foot 183. Like, no one's going to think any differently,
right?
Maybe of him as like a small defenseman. He has the Ryan Green, Sacha Boisvert ended their college season, come finish the season in the NHL and see how it goes. But anything before, and I think even that would be an upset for the record. That's as big as Wyatt Kaiser is.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Kaiser, like the defenseman and size, and for anybody in the NHL, if you play to your up to or down to your size, that makes a difference. We've seen big players play small, and small players play big. So
there was a guy in this town, comparisons,
Yeah.
number 55, Eric Daze, who was a monster that most Hawks fans called Daisy.
Yeah, he was
because of the way
he was
played.
the only finesse 6'4",
Yes,
240
yes,
forward
yes.
you might ever see.
And you got Andrew Mangiapane, kind of on the other hand, a little guy who throws
I was
his
going to say
body
Theo
around,
Fleury.
like Brad Marchand.
5'6", 170 pounds, and he was a menace. So it's just a lot of it of overcoming the quote unquote size factor in some of these for some of these guys. It's just mentality and a will to play a way that is going to be effective.
All right, we're going to hit the break zone. We come back. We're going to talk about Bowen Byram with Petey. He is standing by. Do us a favor, hit that like button. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. And summer heat is here. If you've not been outside yet, get ready. It's
going to be here
and
for a
your
while.
AC is currently working harder than ever. If it breaks down, you know what to do. Call Four Seasons today. Do it before it breaks down and schedule that complete AC tune-up for just $89.95. So whether your AC stops, you have a clogged drain, or you need an extra electrical outlet installed, Four Seasons has you covered. Their expert techs are available 24/7 for emergency services with no additional charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. And if your AC breaks down after your tune-up, they'll fix it at no additional charge. Now is the perfect time to upgrade during Four Seasons Summer Savings Event. Take advantage of 72 months of interest-free financing, up to $4,000 in rebates, and same-day installation at no extra cost. Plus, Four Seasons will beat any competitor's offer by $1,000 guaranteed. Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
Whether it's on the field or in your financial life, the best teams win by delivering excellence at every level. At Old National Bank, they believe every play matters. From everyday checking to long-term planning and commercial banking, their team is there to build momentum and help move the ball forward. It all starts with a plan tailored for you by professionals that you trust. From simple tasks to bigger financial moments, you can count on Old National Bank to coordinate your needs with steady, knowledgeable guidance that brings clarity and confidence with each step. It's a partnership designed to help you feel supported not just today, but well into the future. So whether you're celebrating a win, rebuilding after a tough loss, or gearing up for whatever comes next, Old National Bank has your back with tools, insights, and an expert crew that's always in your corner. Old National Bank, member FDIC, where relationships and results matter.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks, and before we bring in Petey, real quick news item. The Hawks did qualify the players you're expecting: Bedard, Korchinski, Del Mastro, and Comesso. So Ryan Mass and Dmitry Kuzmin will not be qualified. They will head to unrestricted free agency. So it's all paper transaction, just to make sure they retain their rights and they can continue negotiating with those RFAs. All right, let's go. It's time. There he is, the handsomest man in showbiz. It is Steve Peters from inside the
just got off
coach's
a
room.
plane to come talk to you guys in Chicago today, and I hope we're not talking a whole lot of development camp and draft, because I'll tell you this is just off the record, because I know he's probably listening to me, but the coaches really don't care too much about development camp, and I know everybody gets really excited and everybody gets excited about the draft. This is the time we talked about, like, player development. This is when they shine. This is when the scouts shine. This is when the management shines. But the coaches right now, they're not looking at these guys. They're not. And that's why we're going to talk about Bowen Byram. And that's why this Bowen Byram deal for a 4th overall pick is so important to talk about from a different perspective than what we've been hearing from all of the media everywhere.
Jeff Flashel's not even at development camp, so
So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into your breakdowns of Bowen Byram, I just want to get your initial thoughts on the deal. You know, it was the 4th overall plus, which is why everybody sort of really freaked out about it, myself included, by the way. I had the biggest freak out on the show when it happened. I guess initial reactions, and then maybe now that some time has gone by, how you feeling about it?
You know, draft picks to me aren't players. They're not going to play tomorrow. They're not playing game 1. They're not there yet. And so you can get a player that can play game 1 of the 2026-27 season for a team that needs to take a step forward, for a team that needs a puck-moving defenseman, for a team that needs a player that can get the puck to Connor Bedard. I just wasn't as floored by all of the media that apparently was out there saying worst deal ever. And I was a little stunned by that. Now, if it's a first or a second, sure. I get it. But you're getting a 25-year-old player. Wait a minute. So initially my reactions were it's not as bad. And we'll get to the good parts in a little bit. But it's clearly not as bad as what everybody is painting this picture as.
I was a bit shocked at how far some people went with the negative, I guess, reaction to it. Not because it was, personally hurting my feelings as a Blackhawks fan, but because I feel like, well, Bowen Byram's a Stanley Cup winner. He's, a really good defenseman. He's still young, fits the timeline, and he hasn't had the opportunity to play as a number one, and he's going to get it here, and he's going to get it right away. And you weren't really guaranteed who was going to be available at number 4. And for the Blackhawks, I think they wanted it to be Stenberg. And then when it clearly wasn't going to be, they were a little bit more willing to pivot and maneuver with that 4th overall pick.
Yeah, it's funny because we sit here in the media and go, oh, this is just terrible. Oh, my gosh, they got fleeced. What a horrible. Yeah, their scouts have been watching more hockey than all of us. Their management knows what they're doing. Like, they're professionals at it. Will they make mistakes? Yes, they're going to make mistakes. But if they don't have the player that they want at number 4, why not get a guy that's 25 years old that still has an upside? Now, this could fall horribly flat, and this could be awful. But that's in Bowen Byram's court. Like, that's up to Bo. Like, what kind of a summer can Bowen Byram have? Hey, he wants to be a number 1 defenseman. He's been behind McCarr for years. Then he was behind Dahlin, and he wants to be number 1. Well, let's go prove it. Can you be a number 1? Here you go. Here's all the ice time you need. Like, you're going to be number 1 power play guy. Show us. And Chicago is hoping that it's in there. Now, if it's not, yes, a year from now, they're going to say, my goodness, look at Daxon Rudolph. What a great season he had at the DU Pioneers playing in college. And our guy played in the NHL, played 82 games and got 40, 50, 60 points. Like, I don't know. It depends if you want to win now or if you want to have a guy that you might see in the lineup 3 or 4 years from now. That's up to the fan base, the management, and the ownership. Like, what do you want? Like, how many more draft picks can you have in the pipeline if you're Chicago? Like, how many more young guys do you need?
So that's a couple things made me feel better about it too, is when you saw that San Jose was sniffing around, you saw the Rangers were sniffing around. We have a question in the chat. Why not trade down? Well, if you trade down, you're probably behind the Rangers, and the Rangers move that 6th pick and get Bowen Byram from you. So, and then the other thing too is you said Daxon Rudolph, who went 4th. If the Blackhawks had drafted Daxon Rudolph, the United Center would have been burned to the ground.
Right.
Burned to the ground.
Yeah.
So the fact to me that Chase Reed, who I was saying at 4, if they're making that pick and Stenberg's gone, that's my pick.
That's what
Chase
everybody
Reed.
thought. Yeah.
That's what everybody thought. The fact that, what did he go, 7?
To Seattle, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that he fell to 7 also sort of like, all right, maybe we are all sort of wrapped up in this pre-draft hype. And like everyone's the greatest, this 2nd round pick is was pointed out in chat is Nikita Kucherov and Chase Reed is Bobby Orr, and it's like we all get wrapped up in this stuff. I think a lot of GMs around the game are kind of like, this draft class is kind of meh outside of the top 2.
Yeah. And I think that's an important distinction to make, too, because you look over the last few years, Chicago, 2 first-round picks in 23, 3 in 24, 3 in 25. They got 3 more in 27. Like, at some point, you got to dress them in a Chicago Blackhawks sweater and throw them out there. And I know it's fun on draft day, and it's fun till July 1st to go, hey, look at these great prospects, and we'll go down to Johnny's Ice House, and, oh, look how good these guys are. But you know what? Come October 10th, no one cares. They don't. I'm sorry. They don't. It's going to be who can play for this team now, who can help the Chicago Blackhawks now. And I think that's when you're looking at it from a management perspective, they've got to do better this year. The second to last isn't good enough. Chicago needs to take a step forward. They want to be this year's Anaheim, this year's San Jose Sharks. So you better put somebody in a Blackhawks sweater. And it's not happening like instantly. Look at the guys that are in the lineup now. It didn't happen instantly for these guys. Alex Vlasic, drafted in the same draft, has been the best defenseman in Chicago. It took him 4 years. 4 years to be a regular in that lineup. Bowen Byram's going to be a regular in the lineup on day 1. He'll eat more minutes than any defenseman on that team on day 1. So it's great to have draft picks. It's great to look at these 18-year-old kids and go coulda, woulda, shoulda. And yes, you need them to win a cup. You need Jonathan Toews. You need Patrick Kane. You need them to win a cup. But I just said you have 7 first-round draft picks over the last 3 years. Like, those guys are in there. They're getting better. That is Bedard. That is Nazar. That is Vlasic and Rinzel and Levshunov. Those guys are coming. Let's get him somebody to play with right now. And so I don't dislike this trade, because you talk about the 4th overall pick. The price is what the price is. And if there are teams out there looking, guess what? The price is going to be higher. And no, everybody might be wrong about Byram. They might be wrong, and this might be a mistake, but we don't know now. Right now, there were teams looking at Bo Byram. Chicago wanted a guy that they could place into their lineup that can move the puck to help their offense immediately. They think they got their guy. And if the price is a 4th overall pick, that's the price. And I think this was a year where you saw these trades that, because of where these drafted players are, and maybe it's a little meh, that guys need players. You need top end talent. And that's why we saw so much activity right before the draft. So clearly, I don't dislike this. We're going to talk about the player in a minute. Like, if you're talking about the dream of what Bo Byram can become, yeah, that's going to be exciting. But he's not there yet.
So we've been talking for a couple of years now, and some people have been more passionate about it than others, but I think we're all at the point now where we agree the Hawks have to take a step forward. They did that. They went out and got a 25-year-old defenseman who is a 4th overall pick, who has won a Stanley Cup, who has been an important contributor to the Avalanche and to the Buffalo Sabres during their Stanley Cup playoff run here. And you got him. Sure, you gave up a premium draft asset. There's no whatever you make of 4 this year, whether it's a good draft or bad draft, 4 is still a premium asset. But you also got a guy of this caliber without giving out one of your key prospects. And we're talking about, Jason Robertson, Matthew Nyes, Kirill Marchenko as guys possibly available. And we're throwing names out like Frank Nazar, Oliver Moore, whatever it might be to get it over the hump. You got Byram, and we all love Louis Crevier. But Louis Crevier on a really good team is a 6th, 7th defenseman. That's not what Bowen Byram is. It's proven. He was number 3 on Buffalo.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and was at times their best defenseman in the playoffs. So when you zoom out at it and stop reading the reaction, I do think there was a little bit, the initial reaction was like, oh man, the first couple reactions to this are just bagging on it. So if I go soft, not me personally, but people online like, well, if I go softer on this, I'm going to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's like just this wheel of confirmation bias, it felt like a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's hard for you guys specifically, because this is your team. This is your fandom. This is who you guys believe in. So if you guys come out and say, oh, this is great, we're all happy, well, yeah, of course you are. And so I get that slant, and that's why I wanted to do this exercise that Jay asked me to look through some of this film. The Chicago Blackhawks were 29th on the power play last year. They were 30th in goals for per game. You know what they were by points by defensemen? Dead last. Points by D, and we're talking with Rinzel and Levshunov and Vlasic and Kaiser. They were dead last in points by D. If you don't get offense from your defense, you cannot compete in the National Hockey League. You can't. Colorado Avalanche they were number 1 in points by D. Guess what? They were the team that was favored to win the cup. I know they didn't, but you need to help your offense from your defense. And who can help do that? I really think Bo Byram can. Now, he better put his money where his mouth is, because this is what he's asked for. He wants to get paid like a number 1. He better play like a number 1. I think he will resign. I think he will be there. But if he was on the Blackhawks last year, and I know it's apples and oranges, but he played more games than any other defenseman for the Blackhawks. More goals, more assists, more points per game, more 5-on-5 points. Second, behind Levshunov on power play points. Game-winning goals with 5. Blew out the rest of the D by the Chicago Blackhawks. Shot percentage, blew everybody away. Time on ice per game, led everybody on the Chicago Blackhawks. So you're getting a guy right now that is going to be the number 1 defenseman in all of these categories the day he walks through the door. So, again, I get it. I get people are frustrated. I understand that. And maybe Bo Byram doesn't become the player we all think he can be behind Makar and behind Dahlin, and maybe that's just where he sits. Maybe he is a 3. Maybe. Chicago doesn't believe that. The management doesn't. They think he's a 1-2. They're going to pair him with Vlasic. He can play on the right. He can play on the left. He can do a lot of things. Now, are there deficiencies in his game? Of course there are. Of course there are. If there weren't deficiencies, Buffalo would have found a way to sign him. So there are deficiencies, and there are some things that he needs to work on. But I do think for a team that needs to show progress now, where people are getting it's tough. Rebuilds are tough. He's 25. If he works out, Bo Byram could be a Blackhawk for the next 8-10 years and be a stalwart guy that you're talking about in the vein of guys like Keith and Seabrook, guys that are going to hoist a cup with Bedard. Now, I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but that's the hope. That's the hope. That's the dream of what he can be. Is it guaranteed? Of course not. None of these guys are guaranteed. Any draft pick is. So, draft pick or signing or contract or trade, you don't know. You gamble a little bit. So I think it's a safe gamble on a pick that, you know what? They got 3 first round next year. If it didn't work out, they'll get a defenseman in their top 3 picks next season.
All right, let's get into some of those pros and cons and flaws and attributes of Bowen Byram next. We're going to hit the break zone. Back in 2 minutes with more with Petey on CHGO Blackhawks. And if you're a regular listener to this show or any CHGO show, we want to hear from you. We got a short survey available for you. And if you take it, you could win a $100 Amazon gift card. We want your input. Head to allchgo.com/survey today to get signed up. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can scan that QR code that's on your screen right now. Takes about 3 minutes, and we'll use your feedback to shape what we do this year, next year, down the road. So, more events, more merch, more pods, whatever it might be. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want more of, less of, etc. And everyone who completes the survey will be entered to win that $100 Amazon gift card. So again, go to allchgo.com/survey. Take the survey, scan the QR code on your screen for your chance at a $100 Amazon gift card.
New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Make This the Summer event. Head to Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventories of new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams models. And right now, get up to $14,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% financing for 72 months on the new 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cab. Or you can shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000 with a friendly team of brand experts. The team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram is there to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. And since they prioritize affordability, you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. And Ray's price promise means you can shop confidently with no add-ons and no hidden fees ever. Don't miss out on the Make This the Summer event for huge savings on the Ram 1500 Crew Cab. For more information, visit Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks with Petey. All right, we know you did some breakdown here. I know you're going to have a video for our diehards coming out a little bit later too. So let's go through it. What do we need to know? We just hit play and you go?
Before we run it, Chloe, I know, is Chloe producing before we run it? Yeah, the video one is going to be much easier to follow, clearly, because it's video. And so look to Jay and Mario's Twitter X to follow along when that's going to come out. I sent it right as the show started. A lot easier to follow along with. This one's a little tougher, but it'll give you an idea of some of the things he does well. Chloe, let's go. And let's see what he does well. And first of all, you need offense, and that's what he does well. You can see how active he is from the blue line. He's going to come off the blue line, drive the net, and he's going to be an available player on the back door. And this is when he's coming down on the left side. It's a tap-in for him against Nashville, coming in on the back door because he's active, and he's going to add offense from the blue line. Here he is again, driving down against Ottawa. Gets that backdoor pass, puts this one. He's got a great shot, but he's also got speed. He can beat a defenseman one-on-one. He's a defenseman driving the net, beats the goalie wide, taps this one, and this is all about his offense. What hit can he bring offensively to this team? And it starts on the power play, a team that we said was poor on the power play. Great shot on the power play. He moves the puck extremely well on the power play, distributes it well on the power play. He's got good feet on the blue line. He is going to help the power play instantly. And his ability to move the puck up the ice is why he's there. Get the puck to Bedard up the ice. Make these kind of plays so when you get to the blue line, you got a 3-on-2 and you get offensive opportunities. He's got to move the puck, and he's going to have to make these long passes through the neutral zone to help them generate offense off of the rush. But he can also defend the rush because he skates so well. He's able to stop up here. He stops up against Anderson in the playoffs this year. Backs up well, good stick, keeps him to the outside. Again, speed can't beat him wide because he skates so well on either side. Here he is on the right, left-hand shot on the right side. Last time he was on the left side. Stop up, keeps the puck to the middle of the ice. One of his problems. is he can get pushed off the puck. He can create turnovers. He does look for plays that aren't there. He's trying to find something through two Montreal Canadiens players, and he turns the puck over. That is the biggest concern for him, his ability to get the puck off quicker, to make those quicker plays around the defensive zone, below the dot, below the goal line. Can he make those plays quicker? He's going to have to, because I think when you watch the deficiencies of this game and you go to the video that they're going to put up for diehards later, it's over and over. Like, there are difficulties in his ability under pressure to make those plays from low and get them out of the zone. You're going to have to either A, revert to getting the puck off the glass and getting out instead of the turnovers, or B, get his confidence up with more ice time, being the number one guy and being able to make those long plays like we're familiar with players like Hughes and Makar and help stretch the zone. Now, he is not Makar and he's not Quinn Hughes. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the things that they do, he needs to get better at one of those skills, and that's getting the puck from the defensive zone below the goal line up outside the blue line.
One of the things that you're showing here offensively, especially right at the beginning, is those plays where he goes into the offensive zone, the backdoor plays because he's pinching down. Jay and I were having a conversation before the show that was a little bit more expansive, but part of it is he's a left shot defenseman. I know he played both sides, but if he plays on the left side in Chicago, he doesn't really have a right shot, right side defenseman to play with him that you would necessarily trust to be a guy that you pair with someone who's going to jump into the offensive zone and jump into the attack so much. So would you say that from what you've seen of him, I know he did play on the right side in Buffalo at times, is that more or less likely where he'll land, and then you could put like a Vlasic or a Kaiser with him so he does have more of that freedom to jump in offensively?
Yeah, and this is what coaches do on paper. They look for what looks the best right now in June and July, and for me right now, that's a pairing with Vlasic. Vlasic, who I have very high on my chart with Vlasic. I really like Alex Vlasic, and I think he does a lot of things well, and he defends well, and he's got a great stick, and he can defend the front of the net. I think he and Bowen Byram together are natural, but that doesn't mean they're going to stay that way. I know Bowen Byram playing on the right side as a left-hand shot, you're going to be able to open up for that one-timer from the top of that right circle, something that they'll be able to feed him on. And if you get them out there like a group of five and you can get them out there with Bedard, I tell you what, Byram's going to either A, pull some of the defensive coverage towards him, leaving more room for Bedard, or Bedard is going to draw the traffic, leaving Byram more room on the weak side. So I think it's going to be a marriage, not just with his defensive partner, which I believe will be Vlasic to start, but I think it's going to be a marriage of a group of five where you're going to see him help create offense for Bedard. Not only is he going to get Bedard the puck, because that's his job from the defensive zone on the breakouts. But when he's joining the rush, he's going to give Bedard another option. He's going to take defensive pressure away in the offensive zone. There's so many things that I think Bowen Byram is going to help create more offense for the Chicago Blackhawks.
When I watch his highlights, the ones that make me jump out of my seat, he seems to be on the right side. It's just anecdotal, right? Like I'm watching some shift by shift and stuff like that. I think for an offensive-minded guy to be on the forehand with most of the ice on his left is very appealing, right? Like, you coach in this league. How do we make too much of which side a guy's playing on? Like, do coaches really care? I know ideally you'd like 3 lefties, 3 righties, and just have it set very easily, but how big of a deal is it?
It depends on the coach. It depends on the player. Like you guys had Nick Hjalmarsson, and Hjalmarsson's another lefty playing on the right-hand side, and he couldn't play on the left side. He had to play on his offside. That's where he was most comfortable. And I know it was just to slap the puck as hard as he could off the glass, but it worked. It worked for the Arizona Coyotes. I know he was one of their better defensemen at the time, but it depends on the player. The coaches like left-right matchups. They think they move the puck better along the blue line. They think they can get the puck on a hard rim easier to accept off of your strong side. It is hard to get that puck off of a hard rim on the wall in the offensive zone on your back end. It's hard. But Bowen Byram is skilled enough that he likes to do that. And then when he pulls the puck to the middle of the ice, now he's on his forehand. And I think so. It's different by players. Some players can't play both sides. Some players can't, as a defenseman, play on their offside. Bowen Byram is not only good at it, he's very good at it. And I think that's why you're going to see him probably playing more right side for Chicago, at least to start. And I expect him, clearly, we all do, especially when he's going to sign a big ticket, according to all of the social media, that he's going to sign that in the next few days, that they're going to be the number one guy in the power play. And there, you're right or left-handed really doesn't matter for him as long as he can get the puck to number 98.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because Elliot Friedman this morning on 32 Thoughts, to me, the top of the top insiders, said that he's going to sign on July 1st when he's eligible to sign, and it's going to be a big deal. He didn't give a number. We've seen somewhere in the 12s floating around, 12 million, 12.5 million. And I think for the people who are itchy about this deal and itchy about that number, and I'll admit I'm a little itchy about that number too, the question is, yeah, you think the potential to be a number one is there, but he hasn't done it yet. Are you comfortable with giving him that number? They're not going to have a choice. You give up number 4 plus for him, you've got to pay him for what you gave up for him. And I think that's what the number is going to be. But how massive of an overpay does that feel to you?
Yeah, this is where concern comes in for me, and I look at it a little differently too. In Buffalo, that's why he's gone. I mean, because they saw the writing on the wall that he was going to ask for and command too much money, and that wasn't going to work in their system. So you get concerned. The numbers are getting so ridiculously high now because of the moving cap, and you see Kaprizov with 17. We're talking about Robinson turning down 15 to 18. Like, this money's getting ridiculous. So, having said that, is a top pair defenseman in 2 years going to be making $12 million? I mean, the answer is yes, they are. You're just getting a little bit ahead of it. And I know this may not be a great example, but in Arizona, we saw it with Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz and Barrett Hayton, and all these guys got signed, and you go, oh, these deals are terrible. Look how much they spent on Jacob Chikrin. But 2 or 3 years later, you go, oh my gosh, what a deal. This is cheap. This is the cap keeps moving. So right now, this is going to be painful. I'm telling you that you're right. Blackhawks fans are going to look at this and go, oh, we better have money left to pay other players, especially a good winger to help our top 6 forwards. So yes, there is a concern there. Unfortunately, that's just the direction this game is going. And if you're going to be a top 2 paired defenseman, you're going to make a lot of money. And when you're coming due right now, he's 25. If he was 30, probably not. He's 25. The upside's there. So it is a gamble. And this may be a contract that when he's 29 is going to be difficult to move. It may be. But when he's 29, you might be getting the third pair defenseman making 10, 12 million. You might. And then he's going to be an easy guy to move. So it's a risk reward. You're taking a big gamble on the money side of it. But if you want him locked up and you want him there when this team is going to be back in a Stanley Cup conversation, you better pay him.
Well, you're in a situation where you gave up the 4th overall pick plus to get him. So if you go into it and say, well, we're going to play hardball,
they've got no leverage
with Darren Ferris, then you gave up all that for 1 year of Bowen Byram, and he's going to hit free agency, and someone's going to give him that money, if not more. So, yeah, I think with me, like, this is just the changing landscape of the NHL with the cap going up, and this is the price of being a contender, is paying good players a lot of money so that they play on your team. And if it's 12, 12 and a half, 13, that's a tough pill to swallow. But for me, if it's beyond that 5-year marker, if you get a 6-year term or a 7-year term, I know Elliot said it's not going to be 8, but if it's one of those rather than the 4-year term,
5 or more,
I'm more happy with getting more of a term, knowing that he's going to be here for that time frame, rather than I'm necessarily worried about the money, unless it's like 15 million, and I'm like, then I'm like, we haven't even seen this guy play in Chicago yet as a number 1 defenseman. That would be astronomical.
That'd be crazy. I think that the number 12 and a half is with the assumption about Darren Ferris, the guy who maximizes those deals.
Yeah.
Look, like, yes, the Hawks are up against the barrel, and I think the barrel is a 12.5 million. Yeah. I don't think Darren Ferris can say pay Bowen Byram Jason Robertson money. You can't come in there with a straight face and say that. You just can't. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So, look, we'll see. I think the other part of it too is if it's a long deal, the value of it gets better as it goes on, and also, like, by the time Bowen Byram is 27 or 28, you hope that Artem Levshinov, who you drafted 2nd overall, has become your top guy or a top pair guy. He freaking, you took him 2nd overall and past Ivan Demidov. So if Levshinov doesn't turn into a number 1 or number 2, then that's a blown pick. And then the Byram thing doesn't make any sense because you can't play those two together, right? Like this, you guys who don't like Kyle Davidson, this will be the defining move in the defining offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jay, they know that. You don't think Davidson knows? Like he took a swing on this one. You know he does. If everybody that's on Twitter and Instagram's out there carved him, you don't think he sat and thought about that before he signed this deal? Like, come on, of course. Like that he understood how this was going to be received. Absolutely, he did. Of course, if we saw what it's going to do, he's a hockey guy. He gets paid for this. Yes, he knew, but in his mind, at that table, at that time, they thought this is the best move for the Chicago Blackhawks. They're not trying to make a move that's going to make the Chicago Blackhawks worse. He likes his job. Davidson wants to stay there. Like nobody wants to lose on purpose or make a bad deal on purpose. Now, is it a big aggressive swing? It is. Because I did a similar thing with Quinn Hughes last year where I broke down so many games and watched his film. Dude doesn't make many mistakes. Like Quinn Hughes is, in my mind, if he's not the best defenseman, I don't know what you're watching offensively. But when you see Bo, you see it some of the time. You see some of those really good plays, but you also see some really bad plays. And that's the fear I have, that he didn't just jump off the page and threw the screen at me like, oh my goodness, what an amazing defenseman. They got a great deal. Now there's some of that, certainly. There are plays that he does that. He's going to have to get more consistent, and that's going to come, hopefully, with his confidence, with his ability to get in the right situations with line matchups, with his right partner that he wants to be playing with. All of those things are built on expectations of what he can be. I don't think we've seen the best of Bowen Byram yet. And he has to be better for the Chicago Blackhawks to get their value out of him. And I think you're going to see things to look at. You're going to want to look at the power play percentage. You're going to want to look at Connor Bedard's power play points through the first 20 games. Is he better than he was through the first 20 last year? If Connor Bedard has more power play points through the first 20 games, this is a good call. And this is all about Connor Bedard. Get him the puck. Get a defenseman that can move the puck up the ice. We saw it with Minnesota, with Faber and Hughes. Their ability to move the puck up made Minnesota very, very good offensively. Chicago needs that. They need a defenseman that can get the puck up to those guys consistently.
All right. We are in overtime, by the way. So if you're watching on the Fast Channel, switch on over to ALLCITY.com. PD, that's great stuff. We're going to put the Die Hard video out a little bit later. We're actually still finalizing how exactly we're going to do that, but it will be done. And I guarantee you, if you're on the Discord, it'll be in there. But I think for YouTube members, we'll have it out there too. We're working through the technical ability to do it, but it will be out there. We appreciate you, man. I'm sure we'll catch up again a couple times this summer. Hopefully the Hawks are active on Wednesday. We have a couple more players to break down.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Thanks for giving me a call, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Appreciate it as always. That is Steve Peters from Inside the Coach's Room. Always great stuff with him. Let's do a little bit of overtime. You got anywhere to be? You don't got a kid at home or anything. You're fine.
That's fine. I've already been here since 10 a.m.
A little bit of an update, by the way, from Pierre LeBrun on Jason Robertson. Says Stars and Jason Robertson camp still trying in contract talks, effort to try and find middle ground somehow. Robertson wants $14 million. They want to pay him $12.5. Give him $13 million and call it a day.
13.25.
Yeah. Clearly, what Jason Robertson wants is to stay in Dallas.
To be in Dallas and get money.
Then just do that. I'd love the Hawks to get him, but like if I'm Jim Nill, I'm like, dude, come on. Like we're trying to win here. Every penny counts. Like you're really gonna hold me over this for $1.5 million?
Well, and
we'll get you a car deal.
You had a good point with baseball today with Bo Bichette returning to Toronto, and he's a part of the New York Mets.
He's on the Mets, making a crap ton of money, and he is in the dugout in Toronto crying because he misses Rogers Center so bad because the vibes in Toronto were so high, and he had his best years there, but he chased the bag and immediately regrets it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you.
From a player perspective, like, get all the money you can.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
But if you're hinged on, like, I'm not going to St. Louis, I'm not going to Seattle because I want, X, Y, and Z in a team to be competitive and to have, the market or the atmosphere or whatever you're looking for, if that's the case, and then you go in, you say, okay, well, I'll only accept the trade to the popular teams of Vegas and Florida and Tampa and all that, and Minnesota or whatever, then you're handcuffing your team, and then it's just going to come about, and you're just going to yeah, you could go to those markets, get that money, and be competitive, but it just becomes so much more of a complicated process. If you take the money and you contend in Dallas and you don't have to move, you don't have to uproot anything.
Right.
You get back to being with the stars. You're still the premier player there. Like it to me, if I were Jason Robertson, I feel like that would make all the sense in the world to just find a middle ground on the money. Maybe it's not 8 years, maybe it's 4, and they can revisit this in a few years when the cap situation is different. They can do that too. The other thing with when contract negotiations get like this, some feelings are hurt. Things get said in the negotiations.
Have you gone too far now?
Yeah, we see this with arbitrations and all that. You get into the you get to the negotiating table, or you get on those calls, and you feel high in your self-worth, and then the people who you're busting your butt for every night for the organization, and they come back and say, we don't think you're worth it. That's going to be a big ego check, so it can get really, really testy in these situations. So if they can't find a middle ground, it might be beyond a point of like a return even makes sense, because it could just be just like he could be soured on Dallas. Who knows?
You might.
It's something that I'm at least glad I'm continuing to hear from multiple sources out in the hockey world, that Chicago is still keeping their foot in the fire with it.
And they absolutely should. They absolutely should, because you feel like this final minute negotiation here with Jason Robertson is Dallas wants to know by July 1st. And who else wants to know? Every team that's in on him.
And every other forward that is up for a contract.
Right. Or up for a trade.
Like the domino, like this might be the domino that sets off the rest of the deals. Even RFA deals, who knows? Like the Robertson trade and sign and trade, or signing with Dallas is going to set the bar for a lot of guys and what they're looking for and what they do. So honestly, it feels like something gets done tomorrow. That's what I feel like. He's either signed and traded tomorrow, like we saw with Marner last year, the day before free agency, or that's the extension. I don't think it actually gets to Wednesday.
I don't think so either. Look, I still like him. I said the other day, maybe if I'm Kyle Davidson, I start shifting my attention to Kirill Marchenko, while you still have teams doing everything they can to get Jason Robertson, because he'll be cheaper and maybe
In
just
theory,
as not as productive, but only slightly less so. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting couple days. A couple other things we should mention too. You saw Matt Larkin link Mario Ferraro to the Blackhawks, which we have seen many times.
A few times, yeah.
This seems to be a good fit. Like, there's a lot of smoke around Mario Ferraro. The interesting thing there is he's another left shot defenseman.
Yeah, and I think if it makes the most sense to play Bowen Byram on the right side, he's comfortable with it, schematically it works, then you bring in Mario Ferraro, and I think you line up Vlasic, Byram, Kaiser, Levshinov, Ferraro, Renzel, and then you have Korchinski and Del Mastro as 7th and 8th defensemen. Is that ideal for a guy like Kevin Korchinski? No, but also we're in overtime. Shit or get off the pot. Like I think this is a summer off season leading into training camp where you got to figure out what you have in this guy, and I think it's less likely that we go into the season with, let's say in this scenario they do sign Mario Ferraro, who's a left side guy.
By the way, cap wages sorts, because he does play the right side. It says 14.5% of the time he's on right. So Ferraro can play on the right side too.
14.5%.
14.5% of the time he plays right D.
Barely. Well, we saw Del Mastro.
Oh, he does it. I'm just saying he's capable of it.
Sure, yeah. But do you want to put him on the right side 100% of the time? I don't know. I just think like if we get into a situation like that, where if they add a guy like him who plays primarily on the left side, then does he get jumped by Korchinski? Does Kaiser get jumped? Does Vlasic get jumped? I have my doubts. So I feel like if they make that kind of move, it probably lines up with you're either living with Kevin Korchinski as your seventh defenseman, and it.
Well, maybe he does 7-11 again.
We'll see.
You kind of don't need to do that when you have Byram, though, right? Like,
yeah, no, I don't think you do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see if I know Korchinski got the qualifying offer today, but I mean it's going to be interesting to see if they get a deal done, bring him in, or maybe they move him for in some sort of package of forward help or defensive help for someone on the right side. I don't know.
He's not going to clear waivers, but I don't know how much trade value he has. And I'm not saying he doesn't. I just don't know.
Yeah, it might be low, but I don't know
what the league thinks.
You might also be in a situation where you might end up just kind of getting to a point where you cut bait and you say, like, we might be better off bringing in someone who we can put in our lineup and fits the mold. Like adding Byram when you already have Rinzel and Levshinov as like offensive guys that give up things defensively, at least for the time being. You have a fourth guy like that in Korchinski. How many of those guys are you going to have?
That's what I was kind of, and maybe it was offered and Buffalo said no. Like it would have made a lot of more sense for Korchinski to be the final piece of that trade than Crevier from the Hawks' perspective. But Buffalo probably said no. We like Luke Crevier
we want
better.
Someone who we know can play in the NHL. Probably. Yeah.
By the way, here is the Mario Ferraro is 27 years old. He'll be 28 in September. Last year, had career high in points, 7 goals, 16 assists in 82 games, a -1 with the Sharks, 21:02 of ice time. Over the last 6 years, he's averaged over 21 minutes a game. So logs a lot of ice time. HockeyStats.com, which is Jay Fresh's player cards, has this to say about Mario Ferraro: a defense-first two-way defender with strong skating ability who plays a conservative game that involves very little involvement with the puck, aside from putting low percentage shots on net. Mostly stays around the front of the net defensively, battling for position rather than chasing pucks and making ambitious plays with the puck in transition. Despite being small for a defenseman, plays quite physically. So this would be a depth guy. This would be a second or third pair guy.
Probably third.
For the Blackhawks. Does he make them better? Yes, but then you've really got some puzzle pieces to figure out here if Mario Ferraro is. And look, I do think the Hawks should sign a defenseman. I do, but
maybe as Scott says, maybe they swing higher and go for the number one defenseman in free agency in Rasmus Andersson, who's on the right side.
The only thing about it, great, I'd be down with that for sure. The only problem with that is, like, doesn't it feel like Vegas kind of had like a worked out deal with him that was like, hey, we're going to trade for you, we'll get a deal done, we can't, just let us figure things out.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll have to see. Yeah, I think there's a lot of, like you said, like the puzzle of this defensive group is it's shifted in different ways with the addition of Byram and the subtraction of Crevier, and you don't have anybody that you're really injecting into that you're injecting into the scene that you didn't already have, at least right now, with Delmasher and Korchinski as part of the group. So if you do add a free agent or you make a trade to add a defenseman, like, you got to see how that's going to all fit together and who fits in and who has to come out.
Rasmus Andersson scouting report on it. He'll be 30 in October. Big minute right-handed offensive defenseman who passes the puck effectively in the offensive zone at 5-on-5, although more often D to D and around the perimeter than deeper near the net. Active in transition, but more often as a puck carrier on zone entries and an ambitious puck mover from his own zone. Blah, 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 blah. So puck moving, but this sounds like I don't know if I've never really thought of him as an offensive defenseman. Maybe I'm out of whack here, but I don't know. Like there's some. The right side though is tough because if it's not Anderson and Trouba, it's kind of nobody.
Right, because John Carlson got traded to Carolina to negotiate with them first, which I feel like they probably wouldn't do that unless they thought we're going to get a deal done. Beyond those top three guys on the right side, it's not really anyone that's going to be like game changing. You might be better off trying to figure out the right side with the guys you have in house rather than going out and signing a guy just to say, wow, we signed him. or you could go see how free agency all shakes out. And last year it was Matt Grzelcyk who got to training camp and no one had signed him, and you give him a PTO just to see what might happen. He comes in and ended up being pretty good. Now you can't always bank that you're going to sign a guy to a PTO and he's just going to pan out, but it's an option if you feel like what you have in house is decent enough, and maybe you take a roll of the dice in August and say, well, maybe there's someone here that we could maybe get something out of.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap things up. Regular show tomorrow, 3 o'clock after development camp. And then for the free agent show, Wednesday, we'll be live at 11. We'll see if the Hawks make any moves between now and then. And if they do, we'll have an emergency pod for you. Thanks for being with us. Hit that like button on your way out, and look for that video if you're a diehard from PD on Bowen Byram coming out a little bit later. Thanks for watching and listening to CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.